Hey there, it's Farmer Steve here once again. I wanted to cover a topic that a lot of people have questions about, and I would say there's a lot of maybe misconceptions out there, and that has to do with the types of farming that are being used these days. Probably the most obvious is kind of falls into two different types. You have organic agriculture that a lot of us are familiar with, and then kind of historically, everything that wasn't organic was lumped into this pot called conventional agriculture. And really all that term really means is kind of the way most farmers farmed like in the 1980s and 90s and 30, 40 years ago. A high reliance on inputs and pesticides and chemicals and synthetic fertilizers and so forth. And that's what all the universities were promoting, decades ago. And that's what farmers did. So, when the whole organic paradigm came out of sticking to more of a natural way, at first it was met with a lot of skepticism and so forth. And it was essentially hard to do because farmers really didn't know how to do it. We had become, agriculture relied on all this chemistry to grow food. And so, as time was going by in the last 20 years or so, you have this other forms of growing. Now, organic is still very popular these days. And I'll just say organic is fairly straightforward, where essentially you don't use any synthetic type products on your growing system, where there's a few maybe misconceptions there that a lot of organic customers may not know, is that organic farms do use some pesticides, but it's pesticides that have been derived from more of a natural base, if you will. So that's just one thing to know. Now, in the last 20 years, there has been kind of this movement of conventional farms that has looked at some of the organic type practices and have tried to merge them in. And through the 90s, the word was sustainable agriculture. I was involved in that. I helped organizations get started in promoting that, using less inputs, more reliance on cover crops, and less tillage and so forth. Here in the past 10 years or so, the term we use now is regenerative agriculture. And I will say I fit in that category. And any of these terms that you use, conventional, regenerative agriculture, organic, they all have a fairly wide dimension of what they really mean. And with the popularity of organic here lately, some people try to use words to say that we're organic, but we're not certified organic, meaning that there's no oversight to that. And so you have all different kinds of claims being made. And I would encourage you to really check a farm out yourself to see where they're really at on this here, if that's really important to you. So I'm not organic. I fit in the regenerative agriculture, I guess you'd say definition more so. And but I will say this: since I'm an educator to farmers, I have spoken at national organic conferences. I have organic farmers come to my farm to see what they can learn from what I do. And so there's a significant overlap there. But I'm going to tell you this, I'm not conventional either. That's for certain. So you could argue that I'm like 90% organic. And you might say, well, what is that last 10%? Well, one of the problems in organic paradigm is you need to use tillage to control weeds and to prepare the soil. And tillage destroys earthworms. It destroys mycorrhizal fungi in the soil. It subjects your soil to erosion. So I do have a little bit of a problem in the context of the organic agriculture that tillage is not natural. And I think it's important to know, it's just not a natural event. We don't see this in nature. When you look at nature, when you're trying to mimic nature, the soil is undisturbed. And there's living roots year round. Very difficult to use an organic system. Organic system uses a lot of plastic, especially in hemp, of all things. We talk about hemp being a very sustainable a crop, but if you use plastic in tillage when you're growing your CBD hemp, I don't see how you can really say you're sustainable or as regenerative as you can out there. So, and that's where I fit in. So yeah, in my hemp growing, we grow a cover crop up. We use that for weed control. We roll it down with a roller crimper. And I don't need any inputs hardly at all. But there are some times where we use judicious use of herbicide on a case-by-case basis. And so if you want to say that's a compromise, fair statement. But that's kind of where I come out. Now, you might think this is a little confusing, but we have it all written out on our website, cedarmeadow.farm. Go to the About tab and look there. We'll have a lot of comparison of many different aspects of how this looks with conventional, regenerative, organic. And so I would encourage you to go right now to our website, check that out. And if you have any questions, feel free to contact us and stuff like this. So until next time, Farmer Steve, and be well.